There was a man who always showed up for people. He stayed late to help his friends move. He loaned money he couldn't spare. He said yes when he was feeling exhausted, hurting, or broke because he thought that's what friends do. If you needed something from him, he would drop everything for you. He thought that was love. He thought that was loyalty. One day, after work, he was hungry. He went to his favorite restaurant to pick up some food. He walked in to the restaurant on his best friend's birthday dinner that he wasn't invited to. Faces lit up until they saw him. The room went quiet. Someone whispered, "Damn, I thought you told him." Another one laughed awkwardly and they said, "It wasn't personal. We just didn't think you would care." He smiled, said it was fine, but something inside of him shattered because he realized they didn't forget about him. They just did not consider him. All that showing up, all that loyalty, it made him useful, but not valuable, not respected. He was the helper, the backup plan, the extra chair, if there was room. But the hardest part, he trained them to treat him like that. By never saying no, by always making himself smaller, by always hoping that being the good guy would eventually earn him a seat at the table. But respect doesn't come from being agreeable. It comes from knowing your worth, even when others don't, and others refuse to. Why does nobody respect you? You show up for people. You try to be kind. You don't cause problems, and still, they talk over you. They don't listen when you speak. They treat your boundaries like suggestions. They leave you unread. They ask for favors but never offer help. They love your softness until they realize they can step all over it. And you start to wonder, am I invisible? Am I weak? Am I doing something wrong? The truth is, you are doing something wrong, but not in the way you think. Because respect doesn't come from being good. It comes from being clear. Most people think respect is about being liked. It's not. Respect is about being felt. Carl Jung once said, "The world will ask you who you are, and if you don't know, it will tell you." If you don't define your value, others will define it for you, and they'll do it based on what they need, not what you deserve. Here's the truth. People don't treat you how you want to be treated. They treat you how you've trained them to treat you, through what you tolerate, through how you shrink, through how often you apologize just for existing. You could be kind, generous, loving, and still command respect, but only if you stop mistaking being liked for being valued. According to a 2022 study by Gallup, over 60% of employees feel disrespected at work weekly, and in relationships, it's worse. Most people say they feel taken for granted more than they feel appreciated in their friendships, not because they're bad people, but because they don't enforce standards. People think boundaries are confrontational, but the absence of boundaries doesn't make you more lovable. It makes you forgettable. The reason nobody respects you isn't because you're unworthy. It's because you've been too passive with your presence. You let people talk to you any kind of way. You over-explain. You over-apologize. You hope being easy to be around will earn you loyalty, but it doesn't. It earns you convenience. People don't respect what doesn't challenge them. They don't value what they can access without effort. But every time you abandon your standards for the sake of peace, you don't just lose their respect, you lose your own. And once that happens, you stop speaking up, you start getting quiet, and the world doesn't rush in to fix it. It adjusts. It builds around your silence. So where do we go from here? You gotta start by asking yourself, where have I been performing softness out of fear of being left? Where are you quiet when you want to speak? Where do you say, "It's fine," when you know that it isn't fine? Where do you allow mistreatment because you're scared of being alone, scared of being labeled, or scared of being replaced? And then ask the harder question, what would it look like to choose self-respect, even if it costs me connection? That's where it begins. Because real respect, the kind that makes people pause when you speak, it's not built on ego or dominance. It's built on self-trust. Respect looks like saying no without over-explaining, holding eye contact when you're interrupted, walking away from spaces that won't make room for you, knowing your values and not folding them just to keep someone comfortable. Respect looks like being calm without being passive. It looks like when someone tries to bait you. It looks like walking into a room without checking if you're liked. It's not about being feared, it's about being felt. And that can't happen if you keep shrinking. Start simple. Pick one place in your life where you've trained people to disregard you. One room you play small in. One relationship where you're walking on eggshells. You don't have to explode. You don't have to explain. You just have to show up different and trust yourself.